Hello world, this is Lisa Friedrichsen, your professor from Johnson County Community College, and this short screencast will cover common errors that are not found by the HTML validator. The HTML validator is your best friend to find certain errors in your HTML code. And here's my code, so I'll copy it, Control-A, Control-C. I'll come to the validator at validator.w3.org and paste it in and check it. And what you're looking for, of course, is green to say that all of the code is correct. However, there are some errors in your code, some common errors that the validator does not check for, and I want to make you aware of them in this screencast. First and foremost, the validator doesn't check to make sure you're using the right tag. For example, in this particular list, I'm using the OL tag, but an ordered list implies order. In other words, it implies that I must do step 1 before I do step 2, before I do step 3, unless I'm mandated to use that order. You'd be better off using a UL, an unordered list. And I think that this list more correctly represents an unordered list of YouTubes that I'll be creating, because some people will already know what JavaScript is and will want to go right into functions or event handlers or mix and match the order in which they watch these YouTubes based on their prior experience. So choosing the correct tag that semantically describes the content is a human function. Secondly, sometimes you'll be missing a closing tag. Look, I'm missing a closing tag here on my last list item, and the validator does not find that. I think that's because the validator knows that once it hits this final UL tag, this must be the last list item, and just goes ahead and assumes that tag. But you'll notice that it wasn't there before, and still my code validated cleanly. So I still like to go through my tags and make sure in Notepad++ that if I'm working with paired tags, they light up and I have all my opening and closing tags in there correctly. Moreover, the validator does not know anything about attribute values, and those are the purple values that you put after the attribute equals and inside the quotation marks. Notepad++ has no idea what these attribute values should be. And it doesn't matter whether it's an ID attribute value or whether it's a class attribute value or an href attribute value. I could put in a URL, a web page address here that made absolutely no sense and would still validate cleanly, because the validator does not check the values to your attributes nor do a link check. There is a link checker at the W3 website, but that is a separate issue from validating your HTML. Finally, and critically, the validator does not check the content. So it does not spell check your content. That's a separate step. Nor does it read your content to make sure that what you're saying makes sense. Of course, that's all a human process. If you use unprofessional practices such as not indenting your code for readability purposes or using spaces in file or folder names, those types of things are not checked either. So in summary, the validator will check many common errors, that the tag is a valid HTML5 tag and that required attributes such as alt and src on an image tag are present. It does not, however, read the attribute value or make sense of the content that's being placed on the page. So always use your validator in creating good web pages, but don't forget to read your web page, spell check your web page, and use that human aspect on the issues that the validator cannot check for you. Thank you.